When a game is announced with a fancy trailer and the name Project attached, I always wonder if it'll actually go anywhere. It seems a fair few games like this are just never heard from again, so it's always nice when one does actually turn into something. What's up everyone, it's Ridehouse, and today I'm taking a look at Forspoken. Announced as Project Athia back in June 2020, Forspoken is a new fantasy action-adventure IP from Luminous Productions, a new studio from Square Enix. The announcement trailer for this game really grabbed me, as it seemed to have a lot of what I enjoy in a game. Amazing landscapes, incredible magic, massive monsters, some unique mechanics, and a huge world to explore. Since then we have learned a little more about the game, however there are still a lot of unknowns and a lot of questions remain unanswered. In terms of visuals, I think the game looks very nice, and if you're reminded of Final Fantasy XV, that would be because Forspoken is also being made in the Luminous engine, and it is pretty easy to see some resemblances between the two, although for me Forspoken is looking a little more refined. Forspoken puts you in the dirty old sneakers of Frey Holland, who is yanked from her New York City apartment and thrown into the fantastical world of Athia, leaving her poor old cat to starve to death back home. Frey is played by actress Ella Balinska, who you might know from the recent Charlie's Angels remake, so she's bringing some serious acting chops to the table.
And it's been incredibly exciting to be a part of it.
The game will be narratively driven, and we'll see Frey undertaking trials to unravel the mystery of Athia, whilst taking on the twisted and all-powerful matriarchs, the Tantus, who control the world. She must fight her way to the big bad leader, Tantus Sylar. Luckily, after being transported to this new world, Frey discovered she now has magical abilities, which seems to be thanks to the snarky sentient bracelet she finds attached to her arm, aptly named Cuff.
Oh, hello, yes!
Voiced by Jonathan Cake, this witty little guy will accompany you on your journey, providing Jarvis-like insight, and will give Frey someone to talk to about her adventures, as well as allowing her to discuss what is happening to her, and give the player hints and insights without having to have Frey think out loud all the time like a crazy person. The first look at the magical abilities make them all seem very powerful, and they all have some great looking effects attached. They seem to be mainly based around elemental magic, and Frey can make vines spring out of the ground, orbs of water, lava mines, flaming swords, massive ice prisons, stone-based projectiles, as well as some sort of shield of light. I'm personally very excited about how they seem to have focused so heavily on magic in the game, as for me, magic sometimes feels secondary or supplementary, unless of course it's given as a class-based option. I like the look of the variation in the spells, and it will be interesting to see if elemental weaknesses in enemies and other such mechanics will be included. I would probably lean towards thinking that they will be, as the game does seem to have such a focus on elemental magic, but that's just a guess at this point. In terms of enemies, in addition to the Tantus, you will be taking on a whole horde of other fantastical creatures, including flying birds, some goblin looking things, warriors, big old bears, whatever that thing is, tigers, demon dogs, and of course, that enormous dragon. One thing I haven't spoken about yet is the world of Athia itself. We have only got some quick glimpses of it in the trailer, but it seems to be absolutely beautiful. There are great fang-like mountain ranges, dense forests, and craggy deserts. There also seem to be a lot of ruins scattered around, and I'm guessing the Tantus might just have something to do with this. The world also seems as though it will be absolutely massive, and I think it will have to be to keep up with the way Frey will be able to move through it, by using some sort of magically aided freerunning. The movement seems to be incredibly fast-paced, dynamic and fluid, and it looks as though you will be able to traverse a great distance very quickly. You will also be able to swing about like some sort of magically jacked up Spider-Man. This all looks like it could be pretty fun to play with, and with movement like that, I think it's safe to say we can expect some pretty crazy fights where you have to use the environment to your advantage. I just hope that with creating a world so large for someone to move about so quickly that it won't end up feeling too empty. Hopefully there will be lots of interesting things to do scattered about, but from what we are seeing so far from the footage, it does look vast but pretty empty. I'm personally a fan of smaller worlds that are dense in lore where things are actually happening. If they can bring some of that to a world of this scope, then I think we'll all be very happy. but if not, then it really will impact the game as a whole. One thing that has been missing from any of the trailers is any sort of look at civilizations in the world. Where are all the people living? Is there a city of some sort? We have seen a couple of extra characters such as the archivist Jodie and a young woman named Auden who Frey will apparently become friends with, but that's about it. I mean, they both have to live somewhere, right? Hopefully we can hear some more about these elements of the game soon. Overall, Forspoken looks like it will be a really fun time, and for anyone who is a fan of magical combat systems and sprawling fantasy adventures, it's definitely worth putting on the watch list. I know I will be putting it right near the top of mine. The world looks great, and hopefully we'll have a lot of content to explore and enough depth and lore to fill out such a new and vast world. The combat looks very fast paced, and I'm looking forward to blasting some crazy creatures with all the different spells. Hopefully we'll get to learn some more in-depth information about the overall systems in the game pretty soon, but it does all seem to be coming together quite nicely. The game is coming to the PS5 as well as PC in spring 2022, apparently with a release window sometime between March and May. That's just about all I have on Forspoken at the moment. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always let me know your thoughts on the game down in the comments. That's all from me on this one, see you in the next one.